So please, I beseech you to come to this CCA and let's take it over before we start the program fully. So, while we are waiting the arrival of the ship program for all start program fully, I would like us to engage access the weather big cold moment, so I want us to just feel agile, and I would like us to rise up as we take Rotary songs to ginger up the atmosphere together. So I would like us to take Grocery is Good. Oh, sorry, it is not the brochure. So I guess we just wind up together and take it. I have to leave. So please let us guys around it. This is what you saw together. It says Grocery is Good. And here, this particular song tells us about how good it is and the joy we share together as Rotarians and as members of this wonderful international organization. So I would lala it and we'll take together for those of us that are in the big space, let us sing along and enter this particular atmosphere. La 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 la. La 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 Let's everyone trust speaking through some ways never to tell people about everyone to that is sound sound function and So I'm so start in time. I will start with start, Thanks to ourselves to everyone. That's the joy we share with the world. LinkedIn us are distinguished in our organ of the district leadership seminar of the house, especially welcome everyone to our Rotary leadership seminar. Today, so appreciation. Also, this is where our leadership have to ensure living we have exercise discussions and learning experiences that will transform to all the person, to all the organization. So I will teach everyone of this to kindly connect as well and navigate through this wonderful responsibility. Wonderful seminar today. Firstly, we have wonderful guest speakers. We have and I was expecting everyone to this wonderful seminar and make it a memorable. I would like to especially recognize the presence of our district level pastor. That's another person. That wonderful man, a man alone, a man that shows everyone is in good place. And that's another person that actually for each one of us. Also, I would like to recognize the presence of the district level seminar coordinator. District level seminar coordinator and person. Show to both the and now we hands together for people. Thank you very much, one. I would like to also recognize the presence of all the wonderful community partners that have ensured and put this wonderful seminar to a good one today. Thank you very much for giving out your and treasures to make sure this comes to place. I will not need to also be my wonderful person to me to the man I will access to. And that's another person than editor. Please that person so that we are doing this together. And those people for you today. We are doing this together. Okay. So my God, I'm doing this together. I think we are going to do that. Yeah, good job. So I'm going to talk about of our guests are also joining us virtually. Thank you very much for making out time for this one seminar. We have people that will join us. There's the training out there for you that can join us virtually so that you don't miss out on the insightful experiences we have here today. People have people that actually join and they are also part of this wonderful history seminar. I want to really much as yeah, we can all of our style we are and also so after the also taking us through series of lectures today. I would like to hand over the mic to Ejijeni to also teacher development exhibit why we are winning the ever of our duty. Please get my first phone, please. My driver to you.
You know, when you leave these contractors to take over a lot of things. No, it's not another part of it. Sometimes you get scared. Our own assistant, Rotary Public Image Coordinator, can you please come over to the high table? Please, let's encourage him. It is always one of the districts. One of the clap for this man. That's what they hype you now. All right, to the Rotarians here, so friends, I believe we are all Rotarians. Unfortunately, the fuel issue is making us look like as though the seminar is just been attended by just 2-3 persons. But as we can please all be outstanding as we welcome the consistency of Rotary 9110 Bible. If you're not happy, you go outside. All right. I still want to recognize the essay to the governor. You know, before you meet the governor, you must go through the essay. Can I please recognize also my classmate? I want to call her Assistant Governor. Please encourage her. I've been told that Funsho Okunkeye. Oh, Dr. Asebu, okay. Okay, Dr. John Asebu is here. Thank you, please. Thank you, sir. Please come over to the high table. Please clap for this man now. So should I call you Rotarian Doctor or Dr. Rotarian? All right, good. So I believe that many people will be joining online. Me, I'm here to learn like you all are to learn. I was at the DTA and the PDG. Kolachadipo was asking me, what are you doing in DTA? As you are a 2-time age, and what are you doing in DTA? I said, there is no level you can learn. You can see you are done learning. So in every 20, and you know 19, at least one, you'll be it and go. So fellow Rotarians will be here to learn. Mine is to coordinate on the back. The retractor will drill us more while we do the orders. So I will be calling on the district governor to please call this section to order, and we take it from there.
Thank you very much, my lady. Good morning once again to everyone. I'd like to recognize the president of the district learning facilitator, my revered past district governor, Kola Shodipo, the king of gods, no addition. I also recognize the presence of our Assistant Regional Public Image Coordinator for the region and our Public Image Chairman for District 9110, Rotarian Mike Effin. Thank you for coming. I'd like to also recognize the chairman of the planning committee and all her committee members for the district leadership seminar. PhD Ozone Ogazi. Thank you very much. I'd like to recognize our speaker for today, Dr. Rotarian or Rotarian Doctor John. Nice to have you here. You're welcome. All the Hope presidents that have. My Hope president, great hope in the world. Then don't forget the year is coming to an end. The year is coming to an end. They will remember again. You have to continue creating hope till the end of June when we'll now begin to do the magic of June. All distinguished guests here present, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Rotarians and friends. It's good to be here this morning. Let me perform this simple function of calling this session and seminar to order. So by the virtue of the power vested in me as district governor, the only year I hereby call this meeting to order. May we rise for the Rotary praise. Oh Lord, give our we praise thee for our daily food. May Rotary Thank you. Oh, Deji, did I recognize you? Sorry. My respectfully nice, my AG, almost AG for this Rotary year, who is serving today as the MC and coordinator of this program, my AG. Good to have you. I also recognize my special assistant, Lauren Obadanze. Thanks for coming. And I have other AGs in the house. I have AG Yinka Adiogo, you're highly recognized. I have AG Ifom, highly welcome. Then another district leader in the house. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Right, everything's gonna for our own district governor. Okay, so especially for those online, please let's key in. The moment you get the link, do well to send it to your club platform so that on every Rotary platform, so that they will learn. The next on the agenda will be a welcome address from the DLS coordinator, a sister of mine who wants to deal with me after now, but I will try to withstand that. No other but Pastor Governor Ozone or God has the. Please thank you for the word.
There always issue one. I told you if you didn't call my name properly, you will start the one out and the case of well with this one. Why district government? Why assistant government? Recognize the chair and public image section. I recognize the Rotarian and Constitutional Doctor. He came all the way from Ibadan. He's a very committed Rotarian. Let me start by saying thank you to all of you who have made the effort. Today is one of those days that people opt to stay close to home because of the difficulty of the questions. So I really appreciate the effort that all of you have made. This is going to be the last district leadership seminar. It's one of those programs that Rotary International has scrapped. And because of it, we have made efforts to try and get speakers so that
a memorable occasion, and I'm still looking forward to having more people here, and I'm looking forward to having the time. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Thank you. Please let me recognize that DD, sorry.
You say you know, allow me that, but you know, you want to work. It's a personal person. Okay. Together for it's not easy to be district chair and district leadership seminar coordinator. You know, when people who are very humble walk, they don't make noise. They just go to their seat and sit down. They know where they sit. He's a man, when you see him, no, before he became a medical doctor, I think he had of that humility packed inside him. I don't know. So are you the one that now? I'm looking to get out for okay, so we'll be going straight. We have our district trainer who just give us 2 minutes remark. We call him King of Boys, but my DG said he's not King of Boys, and I've not called you now. Actually,
thank you, Jenny. Well, our district governor, Ife Agency, our district governor-elect 911, the man of history, just like our district governor too. District governor is delivering twins 1st of July, and he's the first of the 2 set of twins. So you are welcome, sir. You are recognized. I also want to recognize my brother and friend, Mike Effiong, who happens to be the Assistant Regional Public Image Coordinator. When you say regional, that's Africa. And it's been on that beat for 2 years. And it's been wonderful throughout this 3 years for all our learning facilitation programs. You are welcome, sir. And let me also welcome one of our facilitators for today. He's a Rotarian, but more importantly, he has passion for sharing knowledge here with us. Rotarian Dr. John Asiegu, all the way from Oyo State. You are welcome, sir. I know we also have some of our facilitators. If they have not joined, they will soon join us. We have Dr. Past District Governor Funsho Oguke, who happened to be a past district governor in 9125, and also a past regional coordinator. When you say regional coordinator, he takes care of every aspect of Rotary, apart from Rotary Foundation and public image. And he was there between 2012 through to 2019. So he's an experienced man. I'm sure we're going to enjoy him also today. You are welcome online, sir. And to you, my dear fellow Rotarians, I want to first of all apologize for starting late. We all know the reason, because of the challenges of movement the past 1 week. For that, thank you for making it here despite all those challenges. And it will be a good reward for the planning committee led by the district leadership seminar coordinator, past assistant governor, Uzo, our team, for being able to assemble a distributed set of 5 speakers that will talk to us on various aspects of leadership and day-to-day activities. So I want to enjoin you to please sit back and learn. Whatever you learn, please share it with your fellow Rotarians and even non-Rotarians. because leadership is not restricted to Rotary alone. We need it in our daily activities, we need it even at home, and of course, in our various working place, professions, and vocations. This is the last in the series of the learning seminars for this Rotary year, and I want to thank you, those of you that have stayed with us all through the year, since this time last year up till now. And I want to wish you well. Sit back, enjoy the program, and God bless you all as you attend and you listen attentively. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the king of boys and girls. Now we want to go straight to the address of our own district governor, the first citizen of Rotary District 9110, the last district governor for District 9110, the only district governor that is giving birth to 2 district governors. Can we make welcome our own district governor, DG, Ibi, Tab, you are not laughing.
Thank you, my agent. Good morning once again to everyone. As I humbly recognize the presence of our district governor-elect for District 111, Dr. Wole Kukoyi. You're highly welcome. Our district learning facilitator, PDG Kola Shodipo. Thank you very much. The chairman of public image in our district and coordinator for the region, Ikefion. The chairman of the district learning seminar committee, PAG, Uzo Ogazi. You're highly recognized. My home presidents, I recognize you. Assistant governors in the house, past assistant governors, fellow Rotarians, guests, and friends. I welcome you all to this learning seminar. Like the DLF said, this is the last of its kind for this Rotary year. The year started with trainings. In February, even before the beginning of the Rotary year, we had DTTS, we had the training of the incoming president, we have the training of the district leaders at different levels. And this is because in Rotary, we take training very seriously. We train people to be future leaders. We train public speakers. Like we say, you join Rotary, you learn how to speak. It becomes part of you by the time you are trained and pass through all the training processes. And today again, we are here for another learning section. And that is because you never have enough. Even me as DJ, I am still learning. Because every day Rotary International comes up with new policies, new rules, and new regulations. And it's only through such trainings that you get to know about them. So even we, the district leaders, as we sitting, not just sitting to facilitate, we learn. I didn't recognize my guest speaker. Rotarian Dr. John Atiego, you're highly welcome. All the way from District 9125, came from Oyo State. Thank you, we appreciate your presence. Thank you so much. We learn and relearn, and that is what makes us Rotarians. A Rotarian without knowledge is not a Rotarian, no. You're just answering Rotarian by name. That is why it's important to learn. So I welcome all of you to this training program. We have seasoned speakers within and outside the Rotary that are coming up today to impart knowledge in different aspects of life and also Rotary knowledge. And I hope that you will listen carefully as they facilitate and tell you what you need to know and what you need to hear. And after today, you will now be waiting for more trainings from our incoming district. You know, it's been a very vibrant year. And to God be the glory. the year is coming to an end in praise. It is thanks to God that has done it all. And to all my leaders that are seated behind me. Without them, I could never have been able to do it. Without their support and all the support of my whole president seated here in my house, they've all been very wonderful for the year. Standing firm and solidly behind me, helping to drive all the programs and activities for this Rotary year. I can only but say thank you. Thank you is not enough, but that is all I can say for now. I thank you all for your support. I thank you for being there and for being who you are. And we know that we'll continue even into the next Rotary year, because Rotary is continuing. We don't end with one. We end one and we start another, and we continue to be who we are. Thank you for joining hands with me all through the year, and to continue to join, because the year is not ended yet, as we create hope in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, District Rita, if you aged lawyer. Thank you very much for one time. It was she was giving a pattern speech. You still have words to do ahead. I know you are happy that my club said there was very 50 or 54 at that time, because we already counting even days. All right, so we will be getting the first speaker. I bet you this topic is really encouraging, and I love it myself. When I read through the flyers, I said I'll be here to learn this. Our first speaker will be talking on leveraging emotional intelligence for effectiveness in leadership. Can I please ask us all to join me to welcome the first speaker for today's leadership seminar, no about to be here, Dr. John Asiego. Let's keep clapping, keep clapping. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. The district governor, district officers here present, please permit me to sign on all other existing protocol. It's a pleasure to be here today. I train professionally, so it's difficult in one spot. I hope this microphone would work with me. So to be here today, my topic is leveraging emotional intelligence for effectiveness in leadership. So that you know why I feel confident to be able to take this topic. Please take me to the next slide. So I'm an emotional intelligence expert. I help individuals, families, and organizations to leverage the power of emotions to maximize potential and reach peak performance. And I have been doing this for way over a decade. I'm also a certified therapist, an executive coach. I'm a speaker. I'm a business consultant, and I'm an author. I came here with one of my 3 books. Today we're going to be looking at emotions and how they impact our lives, leadership styles and emotional intelligence, emotionally intelligent ways to resolve conflicts, emotional bank account, using empathy as a tool for building lasting bonds. And let's kick off with a quote that says that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. I usually say to people that one of the major reasons why we come to Rotary is because of the culture. We have a family culture, like what we did earlier. Give the Rotary, and then we hold and shake each other. Rotary is one organization that promotes friendship. And what I have learned is that at the foundation of human interaction is emotion. There is no human interaction that does not involve emotion. What I'm saying in essence is, see that here, everybody is feeling something. One prevailing emotion that I experience in this room, as I step in, is a mixture of sadness, a bit of fear. Because as an expert, when I meet someone, after about 5 minutes, I can assume sometimes accurately what they are feeling. And the prevailing situation in Nigeria at this moment is enough to make someone sad. And I want to start by saying that as emotions are information, this is a session that you would love to write if you have a pen and paper. Because it's going to be empowering. Emotions are data that our brain gives our body for us to use to make decisions. Are you with me? Are you with me? Did I pause and give us some exercise so that we'll be together? Are you with me? Okay, thank you very much. So emotions are data that our brain give our body to make decisions. However, very few people understand this. So emotions are not meant to determine your decision, they are meant to guide what? Your decision. Are you with me? Okay, now I have said earlier that it is impossible as an individual without feeling. There was an experiment that was done many years ago. A man went to the lab and told the doctor to take away the part of the brain that helps you to feel. And the moment that was taken away, it was as though life is taken away. So that in the nomenclature of the human being, your being able to feel is part of what makes you a human being. Now, that includes anger, fear, and bitterness. So I like to say that there is no good or bad emotion. Are you with me? Anger is good, can be good. Fear can be good. Should I tell you that how fear can be good? Do you know that when you hear the sound of a gun, what do? That is you trying to survive. Are we together? You think you don't respond to bullet, and then the bullet comes in your direction. The person is gone. So you see that whole fear can be useful. However, on the other hand, fear can then be dangerous when you entertain it to the point where it limits your function, which is what is very common. There are two major emotions that inhibit the fulfilling of potential of a human being. The number one is fear, number two is anger. Now, like I said earlier, by themselves, they are not good or bad, but the impact that the potential to have on a human being is what then determines how powerful their emotions can be. Are we together? Awesome. So let me define emotions a bit. An emotion is a complex physiological state, and it has three characteristics. One is there is a subjective experience. Two, there's a physiological response, and three, there's a behavioral or expressive response. Let me explain. Number one, a subjective experience, like the example I gave you, the sound of the gun. So I grew up happy in Port Harcourt. Now, I've also lived in the West, including Lagos and Ibadan. If someone from Ibadan goes to Port Harcourt and is the road in Port Harcourt, and they both hear out of the gun, the person will run almost into the road, and the person cannot because it is possible to get function on the street because anything is wrong. So the experts, they should just clear the road. Are we together? They should come just to clear the road. So a security measure in case the danger ahead, the guys with our police is here, they clear. They don't attend to that thing that they do, kidnap, etc. So you see that two individuals would respond differently to an experience. So it will make you afraid, it may not make another person afraid, which is what I say that emotions are subjective experiences. Now, the reason I'm saying this, for somebody after today, need to not just react to events, including in a committee in Rotary, and somebody is behaving in a certain way, you will begin to understand why the way they do. Are you with me? So a subjective experience. Two, there is a physiological response. This is the part of biology that they don't teach us a lot in school. That when you experience certain emotions over a period of time, it could affect your body. Are you with me? Let me go to mental health. Depression starts with being sad, being worried, and then degenerating to being sad. If you entertain sadness after a period, the next thing is depression. Are we together? So now, what does depression do to the body? You know, it's sometimes you don't take characteristics of depression. You don't take your bath, you don't socialize, you are isolated. Sometimes you distress by taking things that will hurt your body, including overeating. So some people use eating as a mechanism, which is destructive. This is the conversation we have in mental health class. Are we together? Okay, so you then see that emotions have the power to negatively impact your life. So if you entertain anger after a period, you could start schooling. Emotions can affect your liver, they can affect your kidney. That's not what I'm here. It's a leadership program. I'm just saying this so that when you hear emotion or emotional intelligence, it's a form of knowledge that I consider myself privileged to be pioneering this part of the world. But in the next 10, 15 years, someone like myself will have to be almost every spaces because we are getting to a point where we are beginning to behave like the Westerners. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. This is very important. And as Rotarian, political role, we are going to serve the future. So we are isolating. Clearly, if we are care protected, we will have our problem. So as you encourage virtual meetings, a time will never come when virtual meetings will replace physical meetings. That will not go. That will not come with that. Because we are community. Are you listening to me? So when you are in this show, it's not the same as someone who's watching online. You talk to somebody, you're shaking somebody's hand. Somehow you are added to your life by being here. Oh, am I making sense to you? That's why when you go to Rotary, the member of 2 club of Ibadan district, now 125, the number 2 club in Nigeria after Rotary Club of Names. All right? No, sorry, forgive me. After Rotary Club of Kano. So Rotary Club of Lagos and Rotary Club of Ibadan were founded the same year. We have in it's all right. You can do research. His Royal Majesty PDG Olalekan, he's about almost 8. Now, I visited Rotary Club of Lagos a couple of months ago. I saw a woman, she's 93. She came to attend meeting. She uses. So I came to the conclusion that if you're a Rotarian, cycle is very low. Listen. And I'm explaining to you. And like, why when people coming there, I'm very happy. As a Rotarian, you will not live long because there is a life school which is school of community. Are we together? You will understand life was good. Look at Mama. At least to be now 60 if I'm correct. I don't need to say anymore. So I hope you can learn that it is your emotions determine how you feel, how you behave, which ultimately determines the outcome of your life. Now let me say something. the decisions and choices you make when things are not going the way you want them to go impact most part of your life. And the decisions you make when things are going your way. Are you with me? Many times going the way you want them to go, we make decisions that make our choices longer than they are supposed to. Are you with me? I mean, I don't have a lot of time, so I'll move on. What are the things that influence the emotions that we experience as individuals? Number one, personality. Number two, culture, gender, social strata, and what we call emotion contagion. Now, let me take some time to explain. There are different types of personality. According to some psychological classifications, we have people that are sanguine, melancholic, phlegmatics, and then we have the fourth one, cholerics. I belong to the choleric category, like primarily. Now, everybody has a primary and a secondary personality. The primary is the dominant one, the secondary is the one that is a bit recessive. Are you with me? Now, so depending on your personality attributes, you may be prone to expressing certain emotions more than others. Are we together? Let me use cholerics as an example. Cholerics are action-oriented people who want to get things done, and they are not very patient because when there's something to be done, they want to get it done. So you will see them in your team, in your community. We are going into a new routine here, new communities will be set up. Am I correct? So that you can cope well with your team members part of what I'm here. Are we together? So when there's a task, what can we do? What can we do? And they will say, oh, I think so. No, we already have an idea. Let's execute. Those are cholerics. Now, because they are impatient, they are prone to anger. So, two ways. If you are that person, I am empowering you to know yourself more. If you are the person, I am helping you understand that person so you manage them better. That is emotional intelligence. Are we together? And then we have culture. Let me use Nigeria as an example. You have three major, tribes: the Hausas, Yorubas, and Igbo. You would observe in the north that when you stop a cow, the cow can reverse to come and meet you where you are to pick you up. But in Lagos, you run right to the. So the culture is a big difference. One is more conventional than the other. So what I'm also saying is that probability that another one may be slower to react to certain things than a southerner would be. E.g., when you take an Okada and it's an Hausa person and you say you're going somewhere and they say 500 and you say 200, if you notice, you don't get angry. They most likely say, no, or they say pay. Try that with a Yoruba person. A trip that is 500, they'll say, come and pay me. You understand what I'm saying? So you will see the role of culture in the way we feel that response. So, you understand what I'm saying? Now, when you talk about fitness, for example, the Igbo culture is more aggressive when it comes to fitness. At least I'm mentioning all the tribes, so you know that I'm being tribalistic. And so, because I have lived in all the places. So people will come out by 6 a.m. to come and spend market, open the job. If you call a Yoruba person at 6 a.m., you know to leave your house. I'm not telling you what someone told me. I'm telling you what I've experienced 1,000,001 times. That is to tell you how culture sometimes influences the way we feel and way we behave. Moving forward, gender, male and female. My master's thesis was on emotional intelligence. And one of the things I discovered, so this is my personal academic research, that women are more empathetic than men. Are we together? They are naturally more empathetic than men. Why? Because the logical part of the brain of a man is more active than the emotional part of the brain of a man. On the flip side, the emotional part of the brain of a woman is more active than the emotional part of the brain of a man. That's why men don't cry easily. So men are not quick to what? Express what? Emotion. Now, the fact that that is does not okay. So I want to pass again and say, as members of Rotary, as leaders of different teams, as president of team, you must understand that vulnerability is a requirement in leadership. Are you with me? If you are going to be successful and not have high blood pressure at the end of that Rotary year of you being a president or committee chair, you must understand that you have to be vulnerable. Show that you're human and you also need help and you're not perfect. That they make you head of committee does not mean the smartest person on the team. I understand what I'm saying. And you must understand and accept that and let the people know that we are not a team. Now, there are some phrases that I came up with. One, when you are talking to another person, you say, I and my fellow team members, or my fellow team members and I, is practical. Because the more you say things and you hear them, the more they become real in your mind. And whatever is not real to you cannot be real to the other person. Are you with me? When you tell me something that you don't believe, I will know that you are lying. The human nature know. People know when you truly care and when you say how are you, there's an expression that is going to follow it on your face. And when that expression does not follow the other person knows, they won't tell you. They won't tell you, but they just know that this is coming from your lips and not what? From your heart. And they will respond accordingly. I'm going to be telling you why some leaders succeed and some leaders do what? Fail. Leadership is about influence. And influence is an emotional concept. And can you understand what I'm saying? So the amount of influence you have on a person is dependent on the level of emotional connection they feel towards you. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Let's move on. I don't have a lot of time. There's so much to say. This is a trade with me. So my comprehensive emotional intelligence particular and what we do tomorrow to read the time. Now we move on. I'll come back to this slide. Or before we go, let's look at social strata. Now, different classes of people are prone to certain emotions. Let's take pride for an example. If you were born in Ikoyi and you lived your life in Ikoyi, and somebody else was born in Mushi, okay, and lived your life in Mushi, when both of you meet, something will happen. So somebody will look at something, you know, because, for example, you are not ready to jump bus, and someone say, join that the bus, why is it so slow? They're like, hey, don't shout at me. Just, what's wrong with this? So, truthfully, it is difficult for a wealthy person to be humble. Are you getting what I'm saying? We're talking about emotion. So just stay on the emotional part of what I'm telling you. So, pride is most common in certain people at certain strata. But those people, they have to be intentional about knowing that I cannot allow that. Hello. So pride is an emotion, anger is an emotion, anxiety is an emotion. What have you love is an emotion, trust is an emotion. You can't touch them, but you feel them. Or have you ever held trust like in your hand? It's not tangible. It's the feeling you have towards the other person. Are you with me? Yeah. So lastly, emotional contagion. In our brains are mirror neurons. According to psychology, that as you sit with someone, like these people sit in the same room, and this happens all the time, people just don't know. So this man comes into this room, he has just fought someone, so he's very angry. And you came neutral, or maybe you were happy when you came. Sitting down, there are certain gesticulations and energy that will proceed from him. Over time, you will start experiencing the emotions. This is very common among people. It's not possible for a one to be staff and the other one we have. It is new. So you spend time with someone, you need to feel what they feel. So what I feel is you must understand that when you are around people, two things, you must protect yourself emotionally. Two, you should be able to help the other person to know that, hey man, how you feeling? Okay. So sometimes when I sit with people, because I sense that energy, I just engage them. Okay, and they're doing fine. So they relax and they calm, and sometimes everything just neutralizes. Because emotions in the way you behave. There are some choices you have made that you did not know that because of somebody else's emotional influence that you make those decisions and they have impacted your life. Are we together? Are we together? Okay, let's go to leadership style. If you have attended RLI, you would have seen, this leadership style being mentioned. You have the visionary leader, you have the servant leader, you have the transactional leader, transformational leader, all those leadership styles. Great. So, but when you then which is the best leadership style of all of these leadership styles, I'm sure if I ask that question now, we have varying answers that, okay, sometimes you have to be visionary, sometimes you have to be transactional, sometimes you have to be autocratic. Someone was saying that it's okay to be an autocratic leader or a democratic leader. And my answer is that there is no wrong or right style of leadership. Okay, but there's something that's constant. For you to be able to succeed as a leader, you have to be trusted. Are we together? You have to be trusted. And it is trust that gives you the power to influence people. Are we together? It is the trust that allows you to be able to influence people. You see the banter that is going on X, on Twitter. Two big music stars insulting each other. You see, if you understand the concept of influence and how powerful it is, you understand why our politicians, when election time is when they remember the tribe they are from and the language that they speak, and that they can go to the street and buy roasted corn and make video and put it online. Is the power of influence. Because when they feel like they can trust you, then they give themselves over to you. As leaders in Russia, you must understand this. As president of fellowship, you want to respond. It's not by saying they are Rotarians before we are going to commit to it. No. You have to sit down and devise ways to improve the trust that your team has in you, and then you raise all the money you want. Am I making sense to you? Yeah. Because people respond based on how they feel, not the money in their pocket. There is never enough money at any point in time. I don't understand what I'm saying. There's never enough money. So what someone will give you their money is a function of the level of trust they have in you. So you want to succeed in that project and raise that fund. I'm telling you what will be the game changer. Forget about people who go the extra mile to take extra jobs to get money because they trust you. And trust is inconsistent. So if you are speaking two tongues, today you are like this, tomorrow like you cannot trust you. If you show up every day and people see that this is you, they come with money, that's you, they have to know your life as a leader will be much easier. If this is all get that there is a relationship between trust, influence, and consistency, they fight. Because as we in Russia organization, nobody will trust the leader in practice. I will say that. Now I'm going to skip this. There's something called emotional part. Now everybody outside is either being debited or credited. As I'm speaking to you now, I'm crediting your emotional bank because I'm making you energized and empowered. Now there are some people you talk to, by the time you are not talking to them, you are depressed. But all they did, about how Nigeria has where how food crop is. Listen, since I was born, the naira has not gotten better, but people have gotten richer. Choose your side of the divide. All right, moving forward, let's talk about how to leverage empathy to emotional bond. Because of time, number one, ask open-ended questions if you're writing. Listen without judgment. I wish I had all the time in the world. Step away from yourself. Be graceful with your words. The choice of what that you use determine how what you're saying is received. Now, when you're always speaking from your own point of view, you are creating a wall between you and the other person. Are you with me? Are you with me? I'm not getting the feedback. It's either you're enjoying it or you're not with me. Are you with me? Or no? Ask open-ended questions. Let me give you an example of an open-ended question. When you say it's a full street, it's either a yes or a no. Do you know? It's a full street. The person say yes or no. If you say, what do you think about the food? That's an open-ended question. Then you will gather more information. Let me teach you another one. When you say, how are you? Is I'm fine. I've never asked anybody how to do, and they say that. Most times, people respond, Nigerian style, I'm fine. Even when the person is depressed. Am I correct or wrong? When you say, how are you feeling? Please listen. The person who say, I am fine or I'm okay. Don't say another thing. Keep quiet. 70% of the time, the person will continue talking and start explaining in details how they feel, where they went to, what somebody did. And then you will have an opportunity for conversation and for empathy, which will build trust and give you the power for influence. Are you with me? So you cannot talk about influence without talking about emotion. That's one of the things from this thing. All right. Let me move on. Smart ways to resolve conflicts. Number one, time and place. Time and place. When you choose to say something and the time you choose to say it matters as to how that matter will be resolved. I understand what I'm saying. Sometimes just choosing to do someone aside and having a conversation will determine how the conversation will go. All right. So time and place. Validate every emotion. If somebody tells you they are angry, don't tell them you don't have any right to be angry. Are you with me? Do not tell anybody they do not right to be angry. God has created them. They have it to what they do with the anger. Because the anger is a function of how they understand the event. And your understanding and mine are not the same. So you don't have the responsibility to say, okay, you are angry. Why are you angry? So you must validate emotion. Language and tone. I don't need to explain that to you. If you shout, human tendency is that the person will build a block. People don't hear you when you shout. If you are a leader, write that down. People do not listen when you shout. They don't hear it. It's called the tendency mechanism of the brain. So at no point you shout at your team, you're not going to get anything done. Think collaboration instead of justification. So you can have conversations trying to prove which right and which wrong. That's very, very non-productive. The goal of every conversation is to get to a point of collaboration. When we then say, okay, together, how we do what we move forward. Many times, the reason why relationships don't work is because people are looking for justification. You cannot be seeking justification in a relationship that you want to take to the future. I think you are the only people to cause to see somebody minding. I've never seen people that took themselves to court and became friends afterwards. Okay. Keep the big picture in view. Like I always say, the moment you start a conversation, there must be a big picture. Rotary has a big picture. Am I correct? You have a big picture in Rotary. Then the vision that Rotary has. And the goal of every committee in every club, projects, everything should be just like one. That vision is not yourself ambition, your ambition does not matter. So I love Rotary. After 1 year, you are gone. In fact, you don't even have much to 1 year because It is already preparing from like December to come in. So your exit loan, the new person, is that not how it works? The next president already planning for investigation, setting up committee. So it's a beautiful structure. Rotary is a very beautiful organization. A very beautiful organization. The structure is the country and corporate organizations can come and learn from the system of Rotary. Well, I would like to stop here. Thank you very much. God bless you. You move to the next slide. So that they can, yeah. So with the information of everybody, I'm an author. I wrote a book here, titled Situation. It's a book that parents and intelligent parents who would love to leverage emotional intelligence to connect with their children. So I want you to pick up. I think you 10, I already tend to go out early. So I'm not going to spoil my ministry. Thank you very much.
You came with it. I want just one time. I don't have one myself. I'll be your first customer. Present them now. Good. Please take one more time. Put it up for me. I bet you that was explosive. Okay, so that was an explosive lecture training because that was one of the things I saw on the flyer, and I said I must be here. We can't say enough intelligence. No matter how much you need to learn and learn more. Okay. Before we call on our next speaker, who is Professor Babafemi Badejo, who is online, will be teaching us online. He's already waiting. Recognize acting district governor nominee. God bless you, sir. And we're going to give you a very short. One of our speakers also please encourage that. All right, so I'll try to figure this out. So we will listen for to going online now as we hand over every single thing to our professor to be before. Professor will be talking to us on the United Nations Peace Support Operations and the experience of mediation in war, a case of too many groups was the bronze. So over to you, our own Professor Babafemi A. Badejo. Let's encourage him as he takes over the presentation. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much for your kindness. I hope that the reception is fine because I could hardly hear much of what you had said. And I was suggesting that the slides could be changed at your end, if that is fine.
Yes.
Okay. Then we can take on the the outline, which can be looked at later in order to save time. I'm aware of the fact that we have the time constraint. I want to speak to you, as said in the topic, to have the aim of introducing you to what I regard as the important element or with respect to politics, and that is interests. And you will be able to make a link between this and international mediation as we go along the line. And of course, within all that, I intended to throw in what I call situational quadruple nexus. I'm glad that you will get copies of the slides, and there is some explanation, maybe not much, because I thought that I would be able to speak through everything. Perhaps I over-prepared, before I realized that I would only have 30 minutes. But in any case, I'm going to try to make the best of the situation. The next slide and the one following it, that's the Badejos 2023 expose on interests. The interests I've just mentioned is very central in all of human interactions. In fact, we cannot do without interests. And I had actually made my inaugural lecture in July of last year. The title was one word, and that word was interests. And it is important to point out that interests take place whenever you have an individual vis-a-vis other individuals, or even vis-a-vis the self, within families, within communities that are larger than families, within geopolitical entities, for instance, economists call subnationals, or in our situation, you can use the states, the 36 states and FCT as geopolitical entities, with each one trying to articulate interests. You can also use these zones, the geopolitical zones, as representing political points where interests are articulated. And besides that, we can talk about nation states, countries as we know them. And we can also look at sub-regional interests. ECOWAS, for instance, is a sub-regional group vis-a-vis the African Union, which is a regional grouping. And then you also have global or international interests. I'm going to talk about some of these, but if you are wondering what is he talking about interest, I would like to point out to you that as human beings, for us to continue to be alive, three things are very, very crucial. We must breathe air. If you don't breathe, you die within 10 minutes. George Floyd in the United States of America showed us that when he was saying, I can't breathe, and life was snuffed out of him before 10 minutes, 9 minutes something. But in addition, we must drink in order to keep alive. Doctors recommend different levels of quantity of water or other liquids that must be drunk on a daily basis. And human beings without water at all will die very, very fast. With respect to food, if we don't eat food, and that's the third fundamental interest, for human beings, if we don't eat food within some, I don't know, I don't remember now, 40 something days, as Bobby Sands, those of you who are old enough may know the story of Bobby Sands, who died fasting to death over the Irish situation vis-a-vis the British government. I don't want to spend too much time, but just to give you an understanding that interests are crucial for individuals, collectives, in terms of groups and classes, subnationals, national, international, global, and the global reality. And at the end of the day, human beings are wanting to realize their interests in relationship with others, in which case they engage in negotiations to try to get as best as you can, even within the family. The son approaches the mother, "Mommy, this is what I need. Daddy is not looking my way. Can you help me?" The mother tries to find the best time to approach the daddy. We're talking about interests, economic interests. There are also other interests beyond the question of food, all going towards freedom, which I will mention very shortly. So to understand interests is to be able to accommodate. If you are, for instance, mediating, for you to be able to accommodate the different players at the table. And one of the first things you must do is to understand what are the interests of the different players. Most of the time, people talk about the rebel groups and the government they are against, but the interests at international negotiation are by far more than that. Next slide, please. That's slide 5. That slide is a picturesque rendition of something that is related, but a bit different from what I was just saying. I came up with this graphic explanation as to how what influences what happens in societies and organized societies in terms of countries, and how to move forward and ensure development. That because I must also quickly point out that freedom is important to all of us. Whether you are talking about freedom with respect to human rights, whether you're talking about freedom with respect to material needs, the freedom from hunger, the freedom from poverty, the freedom from harassment. All these freedoms are many in society, and they are important. And the totality of the freedoms that I have in mind, that I have called utmost freedom, that is the pinnacle of having to group all the freedoms together, difficult to realize, but I use the Sustainable Development Goals and the Fundamental Human Rights Treaty to say that if you bring those two together, it will represent something that every country is driving towards being able to achieve. But what has been the problem in being able to do that? There is a problem of development. There is a problem of peace and security, which may even come before development, but the two go hand in hand, and without one, you cannot make progress on the other. There is a problem of lack of respect for human rights and the problem of humanitarian resilience not being able to be realized. Now, why is that the case? I'm suggesting that the leadership is crucial. And my conclusion is that Nigeria and perhaps even the whole of Africa have leadership deficit, the inability for leaders to really lead. And as a result of that, many other factors that should be regular, situations are found wanting. Corruption is a major problem. Then there is the problem of external dynamics, which we hardly think about, but you must think about it because the pressures on a particular system from outside is crucial in being able to make progress, and external dynamics in that situation are the supportive or destabilizing efforts of others from outside. And it is in their interest. You have a lot of resources. You are interested only in going to heaven. You are not ready to protect those interests on the face of the earth. Why should anybody be wanting to protect them for you? They come to take. So those external dynamics are crucial that we should have in mind. Building institutions, crucial, because you cannot achieve many things if you don't have institutions. Resources are not limited to oil or the minerals that Minister Alake is saying we can make 750 billion from minerals only. The resources equally include human resources, human capacity. But let me move on to the next slide. Now, briefly, the UN Security Council was set up at the end of the Second World War, made up of 15 members currently, and amongst these 15, 5 have permanent seats. That is, they never leave the Security Council at any point. The remaining 10 spend 2 years, and there is another election, staggered elections, to decide who will be a non-permanent member. The permanent members also have what is called veto powers. Veto power in this instance refers to the capacity to decide that an issue that the whole world has agreed upon will not become policy. So once any of the 5, United States, Russia, China, France, UK, if any of the 5 votes no on an issue, that issue will never see the light of the day. So have that in mind and put that on the side for now. And then I try to suggest that we could look at the problem in terms of the specific articles in the Charter of the United Nations with respect to the emphasis. The whole setup of the UN was to have peace in the world so that what the world faced in 1945 will not happen. 1939 to 45 will not happen again. So they set up what is normally referred to as Chapter 6 of the Charter. Chapter 6 in the Charter talks about the need to embark on peaceful settlement of disputes, which we normally just say pacific settlement of disputes, by various means. I'm not able to go into all the various means. For instance, the Secretary General of the United Nations has what is called good offices. His good offices will involve his sending envoys to a place where conflict is about to arise, to go and talk and negotiate and suggest other ways out to avoid conflict. Then you have Chapter 7. Chapter 7 deals with the enforcement powers of the United Nations. The enforcement powers include economic sanctions that could very easily be put on countries that are not playing by the rules. It's been difficult for the United Nations to set up a force because it's a union of countries. It doesn't have soldiers of its own. It doesn't have policemen of its own. It only borrows from member states as needed. And in some instances, you may then issue a command when necessary for those ones to embark on enforcement actions. But the Security Council tries to avoid enforcement actions as much as possible. Chapter 8 is the chapter that gives the rights to regional organizations and sub-regional organizations to also assist the Security Council in dealing with problems of ensuring peace. The UN Secretary General coordinates all these when the Council has given, has arrived at a decision that the UN must be involved in a particular conflict, then the money for it is searched for at the UN General Assembly. I spoke about veto earlier on. It's been impossible for the rest of the world to do anything about Israel and Palestine because the American veto is there. Whatever the rest of the world may say, the unflinching support of the United States for Israel and the supply of weapons to Israel has made it possible that and then when you look at Russia, Ukraine, quite a number of countries came together at one point. I don't remember if it was about 140 out of 194, condemning Russia going to Ukraine, but Russia vetoed it. And that's the end. There's nothing anybody can do once a veto has been exercised. I'll skip the 7th slide. Yes, I've spoken a bit on the UN Security Council and the UN General Assembly. UN General Assembly is, you can say, maybe like our parliament or the National Assembly that can only vote on budget. How to use that budget is in the hands of the presidency. In this case, it's in the hands of the government, in the hands of the Security Council, and the guidance Security Council gives to the Secretary General. Now, next slide, I've spoken about the critical chapters. Slide 10 takes us to wanting to look at Sudan. The Security Council, before you can have a mission, a group of people, military, police, civilians, going into a country to go help in negotiating for peace, there must be a resolution that expresses the decision of the Security Council and giving the powers to the people who are going in. Now, I will not spend much time in trying to describe the case that I took to illustrate the importance of interests among different actors, because that case is that of Sudan. I was involved for almost 4 years in trying to resolve the Sudanese conflict in Darfur. You can later look at some of the things I introduced, the geography of Sudan and how that would affect some of the issues in hand. The next slide talks about the conflict in Darfur, describing it, the intensity of it, whereby you are having what may look like Arabs and Africans, but it's really not that at the end of the day, because you have cross factors. But if you look at the slide and decide if you are interested after the slide, there is so much more that you can read for clarification. Slide 12. In slide 12, conflict in Darfur causes. I looked at some of the causes, environmental triggers, the degradation of the environment as desert is cropping in. You have those who are living on just something like our own herders and farmers conflict in Nigeria. You have those whose livelihood is to sedentary farming, and you have those whose livelihood is to roam around as nomads with their, and then the cow eats corn, eats some other whatever. People start to kill themselves. And so environment, the UN has come to the conclusion that environmental issues are very, very crucial on conflicts. And I'm just zooming to the next slide that still looks at some of the things that could be considered in the several number of causes. Slide 14 is still on causes, but started to look at the cause of the conflict. But the African Union put together a high-level panel on Darfur. That high-level panel on Darfur was involving a number of presidents when it started. President Thabo Mbeki, former President Thabo Mbeki of South Africa, General Abdulsalami Abubakar of Nigeria, a former president of Burundi, Jean-Baptiste Buyoya. They put them together and said they should go find what is the problem in Darfur. Because there had been several efforts. Nigeria tried to reconcile them. Nigeria didn't succeed. So they put these people together, and their findings I put in that, what do you call it? In that slide, AU high-level panel on Darfur and its findings. And the crucial thing that they pointed out is that the problem is beyond even Darfur. Darfur is a segment, the northwest segment of Sudan, a vast, big country. But the Darfuris, the four people are Africans. And Darfur means land of the four. But with time, the Arabs coming in with religion to preach Islam and settled and intermarriages and more, you have a conflict that some saw as racial and was actually being described as, what do you call it, genocide at the time. And this panel concluded that the crisis is that of Sudan, only manifesting in Darfur. That is, this problem is all over in Sudan. And I rush on to how do we then deal with the problem? The African Union decided that the Mbeki panel should assist in negotiating a solution. The UN Security Council also decided that there must be a UN effort to solve the problem in Darfur, because the most important entity that has worldwide recognition for peace and security is the UN, United Nations. But the African Union argues that we are the closest to the problem. I don't want to bore you the term that we use for that. And they started talking about African solution to African problems. As a result, a decision was made for the two to work together. So you have a UN mission on the ground and an African Union mission that was there before, coming together to form the AU UN mission in Darfur. But you would think that once you have that, then they alone should go ahead to mediate. Of course, I looked at the problem of the personalities on all the sides, that how do you get to mediate when there are so many? I told you earlier on that Nigeria reached some agreements, but it couldn't be implemented solidly on the ground. It was implemented to some extent. Then the African Union and the UN set up theirs, but the League of Arab States, the equivalent of the African Union among the Arabs, decided that it was also very much interested on the nature of the solution in the place. And so Qatar took the responsibility on to assist in solving the problem, and Qatar put a lot, and I mean a lot of money in trying to ensure. Qatar says that they don't have any other interest than the fact that when Darfur was a country on its own before it was merged with the rest of Sudan, that they had famine those days, and Qatar was one of the few countries that came in to assist them. But the point I'm trying to do now is telling you that I have the United Nations, I have the United Nations and the African Union, I have African Union, and now I have Qatar. Nigeria dropped out and was no longer showing interest. But there is also the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, which is the equivalent of ECOWAS in the Horn of Africa and some parts of East Africa. They were also interested on what happens. And I gave all the names of the people who were put together to negotiate and mediate amongst the parties. Of course, the Qataris got people together in their capital, Doha, and invariably put a lot of money behind it. But at the end of the day, only the very, very small of the rebels, small ones among the rebels, decided to reach agreement with the government. For whatever reason, the others did not. But I'm going to come to the fact that now, each time you are negotiating, you can decide that I am the special representative of the Secretary General, and as such, I have the utmost authority because we are talking of the United Nations at large. But as you are doing that, other people who are not even sitting at the table are coming to ask you what is going on, how can we help? They are offering that they want to help. But we had interesting experience on the ground in which we were having a negotiation in Doha. We started that negotiation in the morning, and the negotiation was going on, and it appeared like we were going to have agreement between two main rebel groups at that time, and there is a third rebel group that is permanently staying in France, enjoying himself in Paris, but commanding the people who are in the displaced camp not to leave the place until he has been declared as the president of Sudan and flown from Paris into the presidential palace. So he was out. But we had two who were serious and were negotiating. And we decided to take a break, a short break. One of my colleagues happened to move in a direction, and he was hearing one of the people that we were negotiating with on the phone. And that man was speaking to a government on the phone. And from what he was saying, it was clear that the government he was speaking to, I don't want to name the government, was telling him not to agree on anything we were talking about. But these are people that will go on the media and say, oh, we support the peace process, we support the efforts of the joint special representative, Joint Special Representative of the UN and the African Union and Qatar and all the rest of it, they will say that out there, but will be putting their effort into ensuring that things don't work out. Because why? Because of their interests. What are their interests? You will have to study to look at the specific. Some may even be as crude as selling weapons. If you know how the big weapon sellers are dancing in the United States over the fighting that is going on in between Russia and Ukraine and between Israel and Palestine, because when they say that 95 billion additional $95 billion is not being given for people to get food or whatever, it's being given for people to buy weapons from the United States. The money is going to stay in the United States. It is the weapons that are being created and sent to them, meaning the companies who are providing all those weapons are making money, their citizens are getting employed, and all that comes into play as to whether the conflict is stopping or is ending or is continuing. So when I looked at the situation in Darfur, I came to the conclusion that having so many people involved was not helpful. And that's why I said too many cooks spoil the broth. I know that my time is about up, if not yet up. But my conclusion is starts from slide 19, both slide 19 and 20, where I said that it is abundantly clear that problem is far beyond the issue of Arabs versus Black Africans. It is a multifaceted, complex problem that the AU high-level panel on Darfur rightly dubbed as the crisis of Sudan in Darfur, an aggregate of long-held issues brewing and beating up for decades that finally erupted into a vicious cycle of violence in 2003. And that violence is still continuing if you listen to the news. By the numbers out there, it is one of the worst and most cruel humanitarian situation. In fact, the word genocide was used in that situation too, even though there was not agreement on it, as there seemed to be agreement on the other one. Organized efforts of the UN and AU had their peculiar challenges. When you put two major organizations together, it's difficult to actually have an operational. The AU was only interested in when it's to be decided who are going to be the major leaders of the organization that they had on the ground. The UN was having a field day in getting things done, but the AU was more using Thabo Mbeki and Absalami. And you find that these two entities, again, were pretending to be collaborating, but it is complex. It's not, what I'm trying to tell you is that mediation at the international level is much more complex than if you are mediating between a husband and a wife, or if you are mediating in the court system that is now buying into mediation. So the very difficult situation on the ground must be considered. It's not an impossible task because many solutions have been gotten. Mozambique got peace in 1994. Sierra Leone, Liberia ended up with elections in 2006 after they have killed themselves for so long. The same thing Sierra Leone, after people's arms and legs had been cut in terms of the behavior of some of these rebels. So it is possible to go through all these landmines that I'm pointing out, landmines put in place by interests of the different parties involved in wanting to ensure that there is peace. But in the case of Darfur, at the end of the day, too many cooks have not helped matters on the peace processes in Darfur. And the final slide, a strong commitment to a more harmonized approach that could have regulated all the inputs, ideas, suggestions of different interested parties, pulling together of investments, resources, and allow for a more streamlined in the field actors and stakeholders is crucial for mediations. I want to stop there and thank you.
Thank you, our wonderful guest speaker. Thank you very much, Professor Bakafemi Badijo. That was a wonderful, well-condensed speech. At some point, I felt emotional getting the Abadafo. So right about now, I would like us for questions and answers, both for Odian John Asiebu and also for Professor Bakafemi Badijo. To know we have an effective communication, there's need for feedback. So the audience, our guest question, we can take that both for Odian John Asiebu, our first guest speaker, and also for Professor Bakafemi Badijo as a speak on the call with us. So please, questions. Questions. Okay, that shows that we are satisfied with the thank you very much, Professor, for giving us your wonderful time. So now our third guest speaker in the house, thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
So we are correctly. I can send notifications from the appetizer. So the next person we call is assistant financial expert and a chartered accountant. That's no other person than Mrs. Ojini Lamon. So assistant to the program. Thank you very much. So she'll be taking us about investing in Nigeria in the current time. So we are talking about Nigeria itself. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me. You know, I was telling you the first cousin that she didn't read my profile at the Rotary. I tell my website, according to my website, well, I have a very good friend of mine, in German, Okoro, who I don't want to go to the past. But she wants to very good about. And he wants to come back. I think I'll come back someday. But I think I have a lot of things of mine. In the way I have it, 11-year-old twins. But I'm glad they went to school. I said, I'd like to come and talk to you about investing because they were very turbulent times. And you know, they say every time there's a problem, there are people who are making money now. Money, and the people are looking at ways that they got their investments. And the key thing is to know what are they doing, what will you do to make sure that, yes, they are missed. We're going through very difficult times right now in the country, not only in the country, but in the world. So as some people are saying the casting down like the city, some people are saying the lifting up. And we all want to be lifted up. The financial market, you know, we've experienced a lot of turbulence last, and started from COVID era. They have the Ukraine war and all that. And so the last couple of years have been very, very difficult. And so it's good at times, you know, as individuals, to update ourselves on what's happening and what we can do to mitigate and face some of the risks we see. So I've done in the next 30 minutes. I call it investing in turbulent times. You know, how to invest in difficult times and to come out, you know, the winner. I would, well, I don't think about it as I'm talking. If there are any questions, clarification, please feel free to ask me, because if you don't understand what things I've said before, you might be focused on understand what I've said something. So I have an outline. Can you look at the next slide? Introduction. I'm just going to talk about, you know, when you have turbulent times, it could be things. It could be economic, it could be financial, it could be political, it could be for investment, investor sentiment. But I'm going to focus basically on the economic landscape, financial problems in the economic landscape. Then this is my outline. So I'll talk about the current economic landscape. We have I'm not going to talk about everything. I'm just take a salient point. Sorry, I talked about normally. So if I'm too fast, just be I will try to talk slowly. What investment guidelines, so usually before you start investing, you have guidelines and guide what investment you're doing. I will talk about various asset classes. There are opportunities to adopt against the risk, see this current limit, and the conclusion, the questions and answers are not answered about the way. So I go to the next slide. Like I said, I will only talk about the economic landscape. Like I said earlier, since COVID, things have not been the same. Whether in Nigeria or all over the world, it's been very difficult, economically for people. And I will look at 4 different aspects that affect investments in everywhere. First, in Nigeria, for us, the devaluation. As I think January last year, we had officially raised about 400 naira to dollar, 400 plus. By December, it went to 950. By this year, this week, it's about 1,300. So think of the impact it has had on people, on their investments. People who have kept money aside for their children's school fees, either here in Naira or school fees in Naira or in dollars. It's a disaster. I mean, school fees have gone up in some cases 50, 100%. I mean, if you have a child abroad, I mean, we know what's happening. A lot of people have had to bring their children back. Because I tell people, you can't use Naira to pay your children's school fees over there. It's crazy. So if you have your child paying 10,000 pounds a year, 20, 30 million, 40 million naira, what are you doing? How can you do that? But a couple of years ago, it's okay. So people will save money in naira and still pay by children's school fees. But devaluation has made a whole rubbish of that. Then we have high inflation rates. Currently, they tell us that it's 30%, but we know it's more than 30%. I mean, when they make the calculation, they change the calculation, the model until inflation is 30%. And this inflation has an impact on investments, depending on the type of investments, the duration of the investment of the inflationary period, and the strategy you are adopting. Is definitely in terms of inflation, there are some investments that do very well. So you find that your fixed deposits, your bonds, and all the fixed income investments will not do well. Because already you have issue of decreasing purchasing powers. But investments like stocks and real estate do well because the value increase. I'll talk about stocks briefly later on. Because a lot of people who play in the stock market, how many of us in the stock market are active? Some of us buy stock, 10, 20 income, just take that aside. Some of us buy and we are active. If you have been active in the stock market, you probably be smiling all the way to the back. Because of what has happened in the last 1 to 2 years. So stocks like that, stocks and real estate have appreciated significantly. So you find that your property that you bought 10 years ago for 20 million, is now worth 100 million. Without you doing anything extra. Then another thing I'll talk about on the economic landscape is LPR. LPR is money policy rates. And this is the rate CBN lends money to banks. What is important is that in the last 8 months or so, around July last year, it was about 18.75%. As of today, it's 24.75%. So if CBN lends the bank at that rate, the bank will lend others at a higher rate. Also, interest rates for deposits will also go up. But the issue that these rates are below inflation rates. So before maybe 6 months ago, I've let the deposit at 12%. Now they're paying me 18%. Which is at 30%. So net, I'm losing. So you have to be aware of this. If not, they're giving me 12%, they're giving me 19. What's going to buy things outside? You're losing money. So that's an issue. That's an issue for those who are investing. Then we have the NGX Nigerian Stock Exchange. I like to talk about it because people sit down there and tell that stock market is a place where people make money. There are silent millionaires and millionaires and people don't know. But so the NGX market capitalization of an institution, of a company, is the share price plus all the outstanding shares it has. So if the share price of the company is 2 naira, and they have 1 million shares, the capitalization is 2 times 1 million. So the NGX capitalization is the share price of all the stocks, quoted stocks, multiplied by the outstanding shares we have. And this has grown significantly. In fact, in the world, I think Nigeria has had the highest growth in the last 1 year. So if you had a share, I'll give you a typical example. As at December or so, 2022, fidelity was below 5 naira. 2 naira, correct? What are that? 2 naira. But I wish I bought more. It's about 2 naira. I can see I'm very active in the stock market. I said, okay, stock broker. Thank you very much. So as at March, went to 14 naira. I mean, where can you make that kind of profit? But you see, that's why I said earlier on, if you're one of those shareholders that buy, just leave it. You know, when I talk about strategy, you have to think about being knowledgeable, checking and rechecking. You'll have taken advantage. Now the price has dropped because a lot of people have taken profits. They sold. Because you bought at 2 naira and you went for 2 naira, what are you waiting for? Unless, I mean, it depends on what your reason for investing, but people have famous reasons. You might be thinking of dividend payout, or you're thinking of capital appreciation. But even at that, you might say, let me sell some and have another one. So that has an impact on investment. But as I said, if you are playing that market, at times of inflation, the stock market is a way of making up for your investment losses in other areas. And so a lot of people have made money, lots of money from investments, from the stock market, because it has appreciated tremendously. It has done, like I said, the market capitalization. It has grown, this stock has grown by 18 trillion. So you know the value of stocks has grown collectively by 18 trillion. Some might not have done very well, depends on the kind of stock. But the total of them have done very well. The last couple of weeks, price has been dropping because people are taking their profits. When you made another money, you say, let me not be too 50. Let me sell off and buy another one. You can take on the profit and buy another one. Next slide. Okay, when you're, for most people, before you start investing, I think you have to guidelines that will guide you when you invest, when you want to invest. I mean, ideally, you should just jump into it and say, I want to invest, and just start investing. That's what's your risk tolerance or your risk appetite. Are you a high risk person? Are you a low risk person? Are you a medium risk? That will determine and guide you on what kind of investments to make. For low risk people, you just want, let me just save. I think like my husband, brother, if there's minus low. You don't want to invest in anything. You want just capital. They just fix deposit. In a company, people are like that. So people are high risk. And there are some people who will tell you know what, the bank is selling some customers their property. Let me buy it. If I can just keep, they don't mind. They will take that, they will not have. People are negotiating 100 million naira property. I'll offer 30 million. I'll make money and I'll take huge risk. So you have to know your risk appetite. Because that will help you guide what kind of investment to go into, what not to go into. And quite often at times, all these risks, your appetite depends on your age. When you do when you're much younger, and when you say, oh, it doesn't matter if I lose this share, it's different from when you do when you're older. It's my retirement money. I can't afford to play with it. Also, your financial goals and all that also affect your risk appetite. Then you have allocation of funds across different asset classes. You say that, okay, I want to invest, I'm investing. How do I allocate my funds? You know, I was somebody, and I was shocked. When they're investing, they don't look at anything. The person says, they can't go wrong. I have all this money in property. And I said, ideally,
have it, like, because I'm not using funds. You want something that is cash, near cash, cash, so you have to look at all these things. And when you have a problem, you now have a better problem and get money. So you now who will buy? I mean, this guy, I'm buying property. In the end, you have to play it at a crazy price. Something about maybe 100 million, or about 20 or 30. Don't give it money. And so if you allocate your money to various assets, you can run into trouble when you have a problem. So ideally, you should allocate funds to various asset classes. We'll talk about asset classes in the next slide. We'll see various asset classes. Then we'll talk about investment. Look at your investment horizon. How long do you intend to hold the assets you want to buy? You want to say a short-term asset, is for short-term, of course, short-term is less than 1 year. And in that case, if that's what you're looking at, your focus should be on preserving capital and providing liquidity. And so you're looking at money markets and short-term bonds. The things that within 1 year is liquidated. If you're looking at medium term, that is 1 to 5 years. Then you're going to be planning for a major event, maybe your daughter's wedding, or you're retiring soon, or your children are about to go to secondary school, and you're trying to save up for their school fees. Then just start a balance between growth and stability. And so in this case, you have a mixture of stocks and bonds. So 1 to 5 years, you find that you have enough time. Then if you look at long term, which is 5 years or years and all that, of course, should be on capital appreciation. Like I said earlier about with the stocks. A stock you bought 5 years ago, I mean, the value has at minimum doubled. 5 years, the minimum doubled. So you're looking at capital appreciation. And so you are able, I mean, in this kind of long-term view, you're able to be weather the storms. So when the prices are low, you say, I need to let you say, no. You know that as half of that are long-term, I'm able to get start back now. Let me leave it like that for the next 2 years. I mean, I'll tell you something about the one that have the stock broker. At least not the stock broker, but at least I'll start a bit of it. So you find that recently, I mean, last year, for those who invest in bonds, we have issues with the Ghana Euro bond. And what happened? People are asking the haircuts. It's only just like Ghana Euro bond. And haircut, I said, I will not sell. I mean, 30-40% is my sweat. My retirement happened to take that kind of haircut. And I had to know just she needs the money. Well, I said, when you invest, you should look at it. I mean, because at that time. And I said, no, so go back and forth. They'll be talking to the investors. They're coming closer and closer. And I'm not bothered because I have a long-term investment view of that. And then, if you like, give it to me 2040 to my children, school fees and all that. So, but if you do not have, if I didn't go in there, the long-term view for that particular asset, I will have been in trouble. I will have sold at a huge loss. So it's always good to, like I said, allocate your funds to various classes. Yes, it's not higher. It was still where I want it to be. We are still in the haircut. So I mean, by the time you look at the shape, you probably come to a position that's more acceptable to bondholder. Then liquidity requirements also tie down to a bit of the horizon. Okay, so you have money. If you know that you need your rent is coming on, you can invest for 1 year and you after 6 months that's your rent and leave. So you need that to invest. What you requirement for that period and all that will guide your investment. And investment horizon, which part of what I said about investment goal. Okay, I'll just talk about the different asset types of investment you can make. First, the stock, which I mean, sure, all know about stocks, which is only the portion of the share in a quoted company. This is most popular, and I think that people are from the West have been doing this very well over the years. People say, I don't do that, but it's something that when you buy it, I mean, if you invest in a good stock, you can make money over the years. But see, what happens quite often, like I was asking earlier, so people buy stocks and they keep quiet and they forget about it. And they don't check it. All they're asking for is when it's a HM time, I don't pay dividend. But dividend are not when you buy the stock. It could be capital appreciation. So you think of those Those who bought, I know people, I had my friend's mother who bought stock in the 60s. And the girl said that when they had a problem about 15 years ago, the mother sold just a fraction and was able within 2 months to build a house for them to move out. And what she bought for a fraction of the money. But her mother was also very sad. I mean, she was not eating, but she was very sad. It's not inflation that makes you so she was checking and all of that, she would sell and all that, and she needs so much money. And when you see her, like, don't look at anything. She just collects her dividends and all that. And so, like I said, it's always good to have various assets. And stop one of the ones that I said earlier on, that when there are problems, you can quickly ride the storm, and when it gets better, you good for provided you buy the good stuff. But there's some stuff that has issue. But the key thing is you to buy, be knowledgeable about what you're buying, be up to date on what's happening in that industry. Then we have bonds. These are bonds that debt security issued by government or corporations. So like I talked about bonds, now you have bonds. So I think it started about a couple of years ago, the Euro bonds wasn't very popular then. So there were talking about bonds of only naira. But when I just talk about the strategy, and I talk about diversification, Euro bonds came out and a lot of people saw the opportunity. So the Euro bonds are bought in dollars, foreign currency. And so a lot of people now say, okay, you know what? It's not, the valuation coming up. What am I holding the investment in naira? Then that naira, most people could have bought 2 years ago, you can't buy half of it now. And so people started buying foreign currency dollars and investing in Euro bonds. And the Euro bonds usually will pay interest, what they call coupon, every 6 months. So people are happy. Every 6 months you get your coupon, you change, and you move on. So Euro bonds are on for maybe 10 years, 20 years, so there's different market. So you can buy and people are receiving. So at any time you can buy them. And tell which one you want to buy, the tenor. But like I said, you look at your risk appetite, and decide, do I want to get into this? After that, I said, I will not buy any sovereign Euro bond, even Nigeria. I will not buy. Because it's a risk. I mean, the political climate can change things. And you find that, so Ghana has a problem. And Ghana was a country that nobody thought would have a problem. Nobody. Most people felt more comfortable with Ghana than Nigeria. But see where they are now. So you have bonds. So you can have it in naira, and so it's a fixed income investment. So every month, whatever the rate they agree, you get your coupon payments. Then we have real estate, which we're all familiar with, property, land, but what I mean is that when you buy land, land does not much use to you if it's not developed. You might appreciate, but the only thing is that does it appreciate that much? And you have other ways. So don't, keep on just buying land. When you buy land, that's how you can so that the value is added to it, and you can actually make money, better money, income of something from it. Then we have what I call cash equivalent, which is the near cash, the treasury bills, which is the instrument issued by the central bank. Right now, with the MPR, so the money policy will be so high, T-bills can get T-bills quite higher than 1%. And T-bills are actually one of the safest instruments. So people buy the T-bills and it goes for tenors from as low as maybe a couple of days to a year or thereabouts. And savings account. Savings account, it's an investment. I find that savings account now with the high interest rates, a lot of banks are trying to market savings accounts. So you have all sorts of savings accounts and high interest rates. And so like when you think about investing, charging and all these things, I have money for 30 days. I can't do a fixed deposit for 30 days, but you can put the savings account. But I mean, there are restrictions. And some of the savings accounts give you a tight amount, rated at from 7 to even 10, 11%. Yes. 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 No. See, that's a very, so you see, that key thing, from the bank. I think I will tell you, most banks want to keep their money in current account. That's what pays them. Because they are lending at a high rate. They have what you have the CRR, the money that is for the central bank. So it pays them for using the money in current account. So they have savings account, but they have high risk savings accounts. So the one that, and there's one that can pay you the minimum interest you get, 6%. Some they have private accounts. So you have, some have, you know, like, some have, oh, there's collecting money from credit, maybe 50 million, 100 million, and they need it to next 2 months or next 30 days. You can put in those high interest savings accounts, you don't touch it. And by the time you explain it out, you get some interest. So the key thing is to know, be knowledgeable about these things and know the opportunities to take. You have the mutual funds, annuities, insurance companies, and all that. You have commodities. You know, those are raw materials or primary agricultural products like gold. People buy. In fact, a lot of people tell you that because they rather invest in things like that, gold, but the value appreciates nice. So the cryptocurrency, which is a digital currency, I don't really, I don't understand it, and I think more like funding. So I tell people that anything I don't understand, I don't go it. And that's the biggest way investment. If you don't understand it, don't go in there. People have made money. People have lost money. So the key thing is to understand it, know what you're getting into, and know if you want to go into it. I don't understand it. I'm trying to understand several times. I don't understand. So I just said, I don't get into that at all. But I'm medium risk, I'm not the high risk person. So I'm not trying. I know several people who are confused. You know, when you're investing, it's important that you are knowledgeable. Knowledgeable means reading up 10 times. If you invest in some of these asset management companies, they will tell you, information and things like that. You read up. Because people don't read up and they don't know. There's more of the problem. And maybe the problem has been there since. A lot of it, what people I think it's important that we are not reading about anything about getting to. I'm not getting to it because people are going to it. I tell you, I make money. I put it and I get money from it. You don't tell you the whole truth. I know the time and all that. So if you understand it, just leave it. Then they're making their money. Then you have the alternative investments. And they're basically non-traditional investments with different risk profile, hedge funds, private equity, and all that. So you don't mind the time. Thank you. So we look at strategy to adopt when we are going through turbulent time. Not only when we're going, but basically you focus a lot more on it in turbulent times because that will help you weather the storm. So we look at diversification. Like I said, you should diversify your investments. Not only at asset classes. So when you're investing, don't look at stock only. You look at stock, you look at fixed deposit, you look at property, you look at bonds. Even in stock, you diversify. You don't say, I'm buying bank stock, banks are paying dividend, but here you get 2 naira stock. It sounds wonderful. But if you have 80 or 90% of your investments in banks, not for me tomorrow, next day is the problem. Now, people has asked them to recapitalize 500 billion for international banks. They've already declared dividend this year. Next year, some might not be able to declare. What happens? That capital is closing. So it's important that you diversify even the classes, even the class you diversify. So you're looking at banks, you're looking at FMCG, fast-moving goods, you're looking at construction, you're looking at various parts, different types of stock. So if one has a problem, there's another one you can actually fall back on. And not that because stocks are making money, you're having fun. I mean, banks are making money, you're having fun. And so you're just looking at, okay, how much money am I going, how much dividend am I going to get this year? You know, the period for their dividend. They're all doing an 8 year, and you're laughing on the way. But if you don't do that next year, what happens? The problem. So you have to diversify your stock, your investments. Sectors, like I said, the various sectors, and geographical regions. You know what? No one global, the whole world is one global country, more or less. And you find that people are investing in Europe, in America. And so you took advantage of all this volatility to those areas where less volatile. I recall some 10 years ago, who I invested in Ghana. At that time, Ghana, treasury bills in Ghana, was as high as 20, 30, something%. And I had politicians who were to Ghana and invest in Ghana 20. I mean, most of them left before they got back. But the issue that you can look at other regions where there's business where you can make money and do that. Look at currency. You diversify the currency, like I said earlier on about the euro bonds, that you can diversify having naira and having dollars. So you know, when you have issues, you're able to have something to fall back on. And especially for people who, I tell you, especially for people who maybe now everybody's system is so bad, people are thinking they're going for university and things like that. What things are you buy euro bonds, keep it, and you're giving that time for your children to for people to go over there. Another thing to adopt, are you getting that? But I think that to put online.
Yeah, the battery inside.
One in. Bluetooth missing.
So another thing to adopt is quality investment. But yes, so how when you sit down like okay, stay informed and seek the channel. Stay informed because like now you know the thing about the thing when you stay informed when you stay informed having this problem so the manager problem right so the problem or what problem I need from the anything on so the anything of it I think what is it thinking that then that talk about what we look like, share, you know, it's because you have all the question, the country, the defense, each and every. When you read also, you I mean if you subscribe one or two of these stop looking for asset management. They tell you every day because it's a bad. You don't know sometimes they cannot tell the renewal, they will not really do what they want. And so you learn from them. But then you want to become a political I don't want. But you're not getting by that, okay, you want to go to the long term. You are having issues now, and the time is low. You are trying to now. I'm not especially only you tell me the software. I'm going for long term. And I think that the next 10 years, the value of God, I feel that I believe it. It's an area that will do very well in the future. So it's important that we also take it for. So another thing to adopt, investing in quality investment, focusing on high quality assets, strong fundamentals, so that strong balance, stable cash flow and competitive advantage. So if I for example I have okay, maybe what they're selling, you know, is very helpful. So I mean we need that. So then you need to invest for them, you can go to what because again that's also look at the kind of demand for the kind of all the automatically, so the person in this I don't know the government do all the ways we have. You can see that if you look at when you were at times like this, then you also look at defensive investment. You compare allocating the portion of the portfolio to defensive active bonds. I said you have to keep your risk at times. They have bonds, cash equivalent, or different pay stock, which may best one attack. And also, and that's the level of stuff that have pathway because at times they take that and they'll consider that come out and kind of like so after or then I can use that to invest in further investment. Risk assessment. Regularly review your investment with your risk tolerance. Okay, that is so risk assessment. Regularly review your investment risk tolerance and time horizon to ensure that the portfolio aligns with your financial objectives. So I said earlier, if I want to 10 years ago, I just left maybe 1 naira. I left, I did very good. I spent a month naira, and now it's gone down to 900. Oh my goodness. So you should definitely and say, okay, you know what? This one, I know I kept away for long time. Maybe now that let me take profits and use it now. You know, tell it, I use something that I'm not waiting for a longer time. So reviews on regular basis.
Discussion where maybe we have most of that when you're lost. And a lot of life you active. Shut down. See how your when what is now. How do you no okay. See what you
I didn't do it. Not such a much, but that doesn't mean my hand is not up. Okay, so I said about assessment, and I think very important. Give yourself updated on market development, economic indicators, and geopolitical events impact your person. I mean, you must not know that, oh, I have nothing done that, but I have land around that area. You're not aware on the, so stay before, find out what's coming, as compared to out there, whether it's property, whether it's fixed asset, whether it's investment, whether it's stay before. That one, everybody go to the day you not go, sorry, you said, please go over. I don't know, please. So, so the thing is, you have to better in the bank, whether it's what's happening there, to build up and yourself up with it. Long-term perspective. Maintain a long-term perspective for a long-term investment horizon and avoid reacting to short-term fluctuation. What was the time investment? If you don't maintain a long-term perspective, let me say. The next 1 or 2 weeks, this can turn. And for better, oh my goodness, people are waiting. So at times, don't be talking about doing that like that. Then finally, seek professional help. You know, they went to school, they went from not for nothing. So it's important, at times you don't like to pay. When they pay for me, I don't know, I can give myself. Professional, seek help. Don't talk to them, at times I talk to the I talk to I get to find out what's happening, what that you what I thought that. So don't be talking about other things are getting into balance. Okay, like how does it affect banks? When I see I will bank what was the largest bank. But so I read on what other banks doing. But yet I can get how that thing. So I try to find out what's happening so that if I have said that bank now when I want to leave it or do I want to leave it? Is there a bank of the acquired? If you acquired, you have a good standing. How will it affect my share? So it's important that you are informed and get advice from professionals on investment. I mean, in conclusion, I think that we have to invent them. That we have to participate against the risks in this turbulent time. We don't know how long to do that. We pray that it blows over. But the time doing that, it looks scary and thank you very much.
Please, a round of applause for our team. This was a very thoughtful one and very hard. I could see a question coming from left and right. So I'm just going to ask any question. Am I correct? Or do you have questions? So why before we go to the next guest speaker, which is PPG Show, who's talking about the things to guest speaker. That's here evidence. And this will be done alongside the district learning seminar coordinator and district learning facilitator. Please grab numbers for them and talk to you. John. Yes.
Let me start. Okay, let me start. Yes. My dear fellow Rotarians and friends of Rotary, it's been a wonderful day listening to some of our guest speakers. But at this point in time, we need to recognize and appreciate 2 of them that are here physically present. I'll be starting with our dear sister, Mrs. Ukinika Walairi. I'm sure we all enjoyed that session. I personally enjoyed it and face of notes. In fact, I was busy running to people and so my dad trying to take some contact. So I can assure you that many of us on behalf of the district governor and Rotarians of District 911, and more importantly, the district leadership seminar for the team, the sister, DAG Uzo. We want to present this appreciation award to you in appreciation of your role as guest speaker at this year's district. This is the 2nd of May 2024. The sign of the district of congratulations. Thank you. It's okay. Really? And yeah. Thank you, madam. And to my brother, Rotarian brother, all the way from Rotarian Dr. John H. has also taught us on his various leadership roles and styles, how use various styles depending on the situation of the finance. We also employ representation. So on behalf of the on behalf of the district governor and all Rotarians participating on the and appreciation.
So next we'll be having the officer to be taking up on examining your legal style, and these are for everyone that community that will go through. And we have a person is the past governor for go to this 915. We have him on the call virtually. Chief about show President of for the take on what the next get.
Thanks.
Good afternoon, my dear fellow Rotarians. I must apologize for my inability to be in Lagos physically. This is due to the unexpected fuel situation around us. I hope you can hear me very well.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Aha, PDG caller, I greet you.
Yeah,
so thank you for inviting me. As I was informed, I only have about 30 minutes or 25 minutes to talk on the topic, examining your leadership style. I have decided to select this topic Can you project, please? Can you do the full screen? Let's have it in presentation mode. Thank you. Next slide. So as I was introduced, I'm Obafunsho Ogunke, past district governor, District 9125. And I have set out the learning objectives of this topic. We will identify different leadership styles that exist. It is not exhaustive, but we'll touch on the few leadership styles that are common generally in business and professions. Then how we adapt our leadership styles to fit situations. Next slide. When we talk about effective leaders, we are told that effective leaders inspire and motivate club members to reach their goals and stay engaged. Now, this presentation is for the district leadership seminar, as I've been told. And presumptively, we are all leaders, even if we have not served in any capacity at the district level. All Rotarians are leaders. So I'm making this presentation in response to looking at our leadership style, particularly within our clubs. And so before you can say you are an effective leader, we'll be talking about how you inspire and motivate club members to reach their goals. We know that each year we are asked to set goals, and we have goals, we set goals even in our strategic plan. So what type of leadership is required to motivate your members and to reach your goals? Next slide. So we look at transformational leadership. And this leadership style is said to inspire people, is the type that inspires people towards a new set of shared dreams. And if we look at the next slide, it's giving an interpretation of a transformational leader. That is, they motivation for employees to create change. They are usually charismatic and motivating your members to drive success. Transformational leaders don't micromanage, but they foster a culture of employee, you take that as club members, independence and ownership. I want you to take note of this leadership style. And if you have attended RLI, particularly Part 1 RLI, when we talk about leadership in Rotary, we considered this particular leadership style. And when a poll was taken, of course, we all have different leadership styles. But when you were asked to think of a particular president that has impressed you most of us, we talked about, we gave examples of past presidents that are transformational, that their leadership style is transformational. That is the result of what we have usually when we take this topic. Of course, I'm an RLI faculty member, and the PDG Kola is also a faculty member. So I like us to take note of that. And the other ones that follow. The next one is servant leader. And the servant leader emphasizes a leader's duty to serve followers. Next slide. The characteristics of servant leader. Servant leadership is based on the idea that leaders prioritize serving the greater good. Leaders serve their team and organization first. They don't prioritize their own objectives. Employees in a servant leadership are more likely to feel their voices are heard. So this is the characteristic of servant leadership. We may not have the servant leadership example prominent in an organization like Rotary, but it does exist in business. The next one is situational. Situational changes leadership style according to situational factors. And the characteristics are next, which are choosing the right leadership style for the right people, adapting your management style to each unique situation or task to meet the needs of the team. Now, there's no doubt that we should understand that leadership style deployment can vary from instances, from a group of people to another set of people. You may require a particular leadership style for some members of your club who you know will offer their hands of assistance. Whereas for those you know they normally will not readily cooperate with you, there's a different leadership style that you need to adopt. I'm not saying in particular that it is situational, but it's more likely to be situational because you are adapting your management style to each unique situation or task. And unique situation and task require different sets of people. So we need to take note of that. And we move on to the next leadership style, which is affiliative. We call it affiliative. It highlights cooperation and harmony in a group. And the characteristics of affiliative leadership style. Affiliative promotes positivity, a harmonious workplace, and team building. It focuses on using conflict resolution and creating personal connections between employees and their managers. So this it may look somehow similar, but it's quite different from situational or even transformation. Affiliative, you promote positivity. We all have dominant leadership styles. So you may have an affiliative leadership style, which is dominant in your character. And these are the characteristics that such personalities will present. Let's go on to participative. Participative draws on people's knowledge and skills and creates a group commitment to goals. Let's go to characteristics. Participative, all members work together to make decisions. It is also known as democratic leadership. A participative leader is open-minded, who is open to advice and feedback that will help the organization to succeed, that will help the club or the organization. Now, you will see that these are peculiar characteristics, different in their own ways, but generally working to lead a team or a club or a group of workers or your employees. These are things we need to bear in mind. Yes, we expect any leader to be open-minded, who is open to advice and feedback. But there are times you may not find it easy to be too open-minded. Then you may get carried away with an idea which is not yours, and then you are unable to manage the consequences of taking a decision you cannot control. But let's go on. This is not to criticize any particular leadership style. It is just to draw attention to the peculiarities. Transactional leadership works through hierarchical structures and systems of rewards. The characteristics are transactional leadership, also known as managerial leadership, rely on rewards and punishments to achieve optimal judge performance from their subordinates. It works on the belief that people are not self-motivated. Extrinsic motivation through money, recognition, or praise. Now you will find that in our clubs, we recognize at the end of the Rotary year those that may have done well in executing their responsibilities of their offices. We give plaques. These are the rewards we give in Rotary, not necessarily monetary. You recognize them, we shower praises on them. That is a combination of recognition in managing your club members. And many times I have stated that at what point would your club members appreciate that recognition? Is it at the end of the Rotary year or the beginning of another Rotary year when the president, immediate past president, is given an award for his year, or at the end of the year giving awards for a task that had been done in September 2023, and the person is not formally recognized until June. I say in the classes that I have taken in RLI that immediate recognition and giving praise and award will be more effective than waiting till end of the Rotary year. But I may be wrong. I think these are some of the things we can consider as leaders on how effective do we want to make the award? What time is most efficient? What time will it be most appreciated? Will it create, motivate those you are giving the award and those who are yet to be given an award to, replicate that kind of or deliver that kind of results. But these are issues we can think about ourselves. Next slide. Now, I have chosen the few leadership styles because of the time allotted. I chose the particular 5 or 6 because those are the ones that are more dominant in our clubs or even at our places of work. So we need to understand that effective leaders switch between these style-based on the situation they find themselves. As I earlier mentioned, when we're talking about transactional leadership, a transformational leader would probably borrow the transactional characteristic of reward system to motivate his members, or using situational. There is no one leadership style that fits all cases. As was mentioned earlier by the guest speaker on emotional intelligence, we need to, it's a combination. But as human beings, one particular leadership style will prevail over others. But we must remind ourselves that employing all these various leadership styles will become come naturally, instinctively. And that's why we need to examine the leadership styles and be aware of the leadership styles and, put ourselves in the situation where we can deploy, recognize leadership styles that will help in solving an issue or prevent crises in your clubs. Crises are usually born out of misunderstanding, and usually the leadership style of the president and the leaders in the club may also occasion discord, or what we commonly, there will be clique here, some people who are loyal to one group. There are groups, there are cliques. I don't want to use cliques and groups as synonymous. There are groups. They may necessarily not be cliques, and there are cliques. And the burden on each leader, each of us, is to remember that there is no one answer does not, or one cap does not fit all. And we must therefore be conscious of that situation. Next slide, I thought that I'll be in Lagos physically. But we can still look at this, because this would have been a group study kind of exercise. So your board has set a goal of 100% of members donating to the Rotary Foundation on or before 23rd February. As at the end of November, only 5% of members have contributed. Next slide. Now, what leadership style or activities will you employ as club's TRF chair? 2, what leadership style or activities will you employ as club's president? And 3, what leadership style or activities will motivate you as a club member to donate generously? Let's look at the question. I hope we can jot down this activity. And let us look at the question again. Go back one slide. Yes. You have set a goal of 100% of members donating to the Rotary Foundation before February. As at the end of November, only 5% of members have contributed. Next slide. So how do you, as the TRF chair, how do you solve, what leadership style do you need to get more people to pay to the Rotary Foundation to donate? And as club president, and even as a club member, I hope we have written this down. We can take it home, or we can take it back to our clubs. The purpose is to open our minds and our thoughts to issues, live issues that we have in our clubs. These are live issues. And many times we find that we are unable to attain particular goals that we have set for ourselves. But we don't ask the right questions on how the problems could be solved. And I think and I believe that this is where leadership style comes in. And for us as Rotarians, we must work more on our leadership style content. We want to elect a new president, or of course, he would have been elected as president nominee 1.5 years or 2 years before. Who are the two candidates that are contesting, or three? Do we look at their leadership styles before we vote? Or do we just vote because we like their faces? Or because we joined Rotary the same day? And we then find ourselves during the year, the club is not moving, the club is regressing, we are not attaining our goals, because the president is not employing leadership styles that will motivate club members, that will achieve results. So, my dear fellow Rotarians, if I was in Lagos, maybe I would have gone around the room to have responses to the questions here, but I'm not sure if the audio would permit such an exercise. But suffice to say is the fact that I'm leaving this with you, and we can take this as nuggets to take back to our clubs, to examine our leadership styles. Next slide. So I want to thank the organizers for inviting me. I'm sorry I couldn't make Lagos. I think I've been able to expose to us that there are different leadership styles, and we need to examine ourselves, and we need to engage and deploy different leadership styles to meet situations we find ourselves in our clubs. Thank you very much.
We can never accept that, because they are all different persons and our leadership styles are meant to be different. And I would like every of us to ponder on those questions that, as members, we want to motivate you. As the TRF chair, what are you going to do? As a club president, what will you also do? I believe those questions will actually give us an insight on the kind of leadership style and person would always love to employ and what we want to get rid of to work out. So I would like to take two questions. Another question. One. Another question. Okay, I hope it is okay.
Yes.
Yes, it's not really a question. I want them to know that you're my father. So I have to do this for we are from the same club, and it's a privilege to be participating alongside you, sir. Thank you very much.
Face me here. Yes, face the camera. Please don't let them call you an Ibadan man. This the way you are behaving. John, thank you very much. I enjoyed your presentation. Thank you. I like the question of trust, which you used in your presentation. We will discuss about that later. Did you ask me any particular question, or just acknowledge my
question? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John.
Give it short for my intention. It was in what just going to that promotion. For example, let us know we need to still do more on it. It is not that actually now. So I am going to still start with last part of the comes to broadcasting and communication. In the family, it's not I want to spend something I'm going to share. Always, I particularly when it comes to the problem of the struggle. The one that what the choice in the last is input that show you thank you very much, DG and PDG. Once again, thank you very much. I think it was it. I think it was it. I think our people is very strong. I think it was it. So please someone to come up with it. For me, I've learned emotional intelligence in ways that I didn't know. I've learned the fact when they are talking about business, relating so I talk to one because I just learned about this different forms of business. So I believe we need to take you back and we're all blessed. And that's what Rotary is about. Rotary is a continuous investment. Learning is part of the so the problem is and our classes. We've been told that we don't know which want to learn from ourselves. So we're ready to learn from the world. So learning and interesting. So this is so this is learning alternatives. We don't really only want to have
I can see. At the end of the session, participants will know about public image, discover effective methods to promote Rotary, understand do's and don'ts of Rotary brand.
So this is what we are going to discuss today. Public image. So the image. There are two ways that correspond to form public image. What was what we understand by important. We got the mind. Public for having openness. What's it on general? Public in general. Openness. The people, the community. Who else is with that kind of thing?
We talk about community, people with similar interests, subjects, community, openness, general. Next slide. So in PR contributions, we actually call it for people that are involved. So your government that who part of your politics, because you relate with them. Your family are part of your politics because we relate with them as a Unitarian. Colleagues at work, your neighbor, someone mentioned your community, people with similar, someone mentioned it as well. As someone mentioned the body. So everyone, people will relate. So the next point is, who can take an attempt? What does it mean? What does it say? Healing. What does it mean? Why? Healing. Impression people are so most like because I'm one with it before I want that. So in don't mention impression. What do you project with it? What kind of image do you project? What do people say or say about you? So you combine public and image. There's a relationship between when they come together, what you send out, what people feel about, what you say about. So basically that's what we image. If you look at it, so what do you project? What do people think about two slides? I don't want to do it. So why is it important? Why do you want to these are our we are all going to solve this. These are why do you want to to let people know what we do as Unitarians. Who are we tell our story properly. Who else has? Our projects. Why is important important as a Unitarian and it's not ever so quickly, next slide. So it helps us to raise awareness and understand which helps us to do what to attract members. Some people know what to do. Okay, because it is still the kind of private small members. When you want somebody to see yourself as a leader, see yourself, it encourages community members to donate their time. When you're taking the progress movement, they do to find out not only last minute to and that as to come and join you. It encourages others to donate to your work and especially to working foundation. When people see the good work with you, they will say they are not connected to the team that people are doing something great. So how can I join? It's something you can donate to our local foundation. There is also enough to the money that because they see the result of other people that have supported their cause. It helps to have some members in our communities around the world. That one helps to ground. When we tell our story more, the more people don't get next slide. So public image is actually great. Connects so many communities platforms. Remember that community needs for the Rotary Foundation needs for the village. Service project needs for the so that who having service, there is no community that does not need for me. So the next question is whose function is it? Whose function is that? Whose function is I don't want there are not related out whose function? All members. How can all members be standing for public nature? The president, the God secretary, the treasurer, next slide. Every Rotarian we are all remember, so how my department join this building benefits? Wow, we are all getting some fee that goes to the ideal. So you are coming around those values, those ideals. So we have for the time to step out of your home, or even your home, you are an ambassador for growth. That's why I remember when we're talking about politics earlier, your family is also one of your politics. So you cannot have people of all lands. You have to different life of our own. You have to different life of our own. And have to different life of our own. Your life has to be there. I don't think that's right. So watching I feel environment actually can be woven into the because you have to live following the ideal of growth in your daily life. It's not like only when you are going to grow. So, but we'll discuss that next slide. Everybody knows the over. We recite it over. We recite that before we do it. I mean, anyone else knows what is going on? The first one, second one, third one, last one. So everyone seems more before we do it. But we divide them. I've put several functions, programs, when people that are non-Nigerian, they will cite this formation. The thing Nigerian leaders abide by this formation. And Nigerian leaders. So that's the very conflict. And all of this thing, that will tell us that we need to win. If we all follow this formation, we'll be from down and you understand? So we can actually keep the child of the moral and with what we do. So next one, the values I have to read this so that we can take it. The values and ideals of the Rotary brand will be evident in our everyday life. When your colleagues and friends need to recommend a truthful, trustworthy, and fair person to others, your tool of integrity speaks volume much more than what you say or write about who you are. So you can take that quote. When somebody wants to recommend someone, you know straightforward, who can deliver without person next slide. So we go to our main points today, building awareness. Research has shown that the Rotary brand, the research shows that people recognize Rotary but they don't even know what impact that we have in our community. Many people know those people, they know our life, but they don't really know the impact that we create. I was telling a group like this that if you combine present Lagos and is there a person is there any what are those any projects? No problem. Every color don't want to but you combine all the projects that we want. All the projects today and getting on so how come so we've not been telling our stories wrong. The 12 are not been selling themselves because they are projects. I wish you are going to say that back at the ground. Why say that? And at the beginning of people's here, she said one of our core priorities was market and brand new property. And for all one day, very good. Because if we do that as 140 clubs are writing our 1 week, that's research in the other way around. All things are part. You know roading, you know what. So please take this to your bros as we prepare for the next meeting. Let's like budget for. So we said that we need to raise awareness. What are the ways? What ways? What ways? Okay, what ways can we use to market or sell poultry? Like we said, we began with the fact that we're all together, we're learning. So what ways? Social media. Social media. Very broad as well, but we'll take it. Talking to individual, billboards, everybody kind of happen. And I know what is like, what are these things that are wearing? Is it not important? Is it not the kind of it's that conversations when people see what's the thing that what do they want to do? So if you leave your work to follow the church without your belief, for me, I believe that anyone who goes to that because each person they talk to about Rotary, there's a possibility that the person will join them. Now we are the struggles to 1.4 and we expect those actors to move to 1.5. But we can actually do, like we said, each of us, next each of us. So all these memorandums, the teachers, the parents, all those things, the parents, when the community, you know, you see the banner outside your building place, and you're walking, you have situations like that. Through the media, social media, we can break it down. Let's say we can break it down. For the very short period, I will just shortly. The important thing about this, I was saying it to teach you. How come? Because we talk of collaboration. Not can collaborate. How come we can 15 minutes radio show? the popular radio station. We all put our money together. And tell them every week we all know that we want to drop money. I say, look, we need this to tell them. So it's only we can discuss it. We can discuss it. It's not very expensive, but if we collaborate. Someone mentioned this process is very expensive. But looking at this district, we've been working to have a good collaboration with LASA. This last Rotary year, we have 10 roads. Around the world, with our 5 on the island, 5 on the mainland. That we get a return of 100,000. So close to advantage of that. So it's 6 or 3. You can go away, they can be invested our 10 years. They're close. Well done. About 10 years, here we are in the first area, which is I think what we call it is the function so because how many people that was so many people the enemy and the truth that was the for the so everything like so the ball will last 1 year, 2 extra, so the ball 6 weeks. But we have to talk about or which of the things that you have talking about this year. So that kind of things. I don't know what to try with that. I really we don't want to spend money. But everyone has to do it. Everyone has to do what but who needs it that big food? Your status. What do we do with that status? What do we do? Do we sell? What do we do about projects? Do we talk about the project? Do we put those pictures? Look at me, they don't have on their list, on their phone list. So if you are talking to 150 people, let me see them. Let me get them. We'll see what you have posted that day. Times, there's no longer than 25. 30 times 25. If it agrees, as a total, each time we're going out to do any good thing, let me put it in our status. If you don't bring up people, I'm going to find everybody will do that. And look at the community effect of us just giving that free. You don't need to pay anything. Then why do you not have paid good things? What's so difficult? So you know, they are not going to the of the year. For the president, the installation of that. You can't want to show me that. You have to require that to consistent. The eyeball from together. If I come to your day, what the sort day, what I see tomorrow, and tomorrow, I won't go. So you have to be very consistent. And this thing, although the people will say that someone said, is the work of the body. Sometimes the body image see your clothes. I know the person has been. There are some people that know that are very good. So you don't speak them up on those. Give them that room. I'm sure you see it different. But people have been Facebook and Instagram. Because when you post picture, video, video related will discuss it 50-50. They are very massive. Let's quickly run through. This is our project. I think everyone has to have a project. Who knows the maximum shows here? We'll talk about the YouTube that will go to. Sorry. What posting thing you get with? Everyone works with a very organization. So you don't want situations where you post the that we're so try kind of pictures the posting when you are at work. when go to the next picture, next slide. There are two pictures there. And can you see those two pictures? The first picture, we are having a picture of the cleaning of exercise about 20 kids. Here, that picture. You can see that those people, they don't even know the photograph in front of them. They are being objected at the other people, they are also recording what they want to know that we are not being told. That is not the kind of image we want to send out. We want to try and show people that we need to doing that. Next slide. This is an example. The two pictures on that side, you can see them enjoying themselves, laughing at the camera, but that guys there are busy work, they are busy at work. Next picture. Of course, the only this part of the picture, someone is not doing any audio. So all the pictures are in that you can send out. Nobody recorded. But no will come there. There's a picture not coming up on your laptop. Okay, now the picture of something. That's the picture that is in there. Don't have the picture. We're all fighting, backslapping. Please. I know that you can't part of it, but even if you're going to do it, you have to do it stylishly. That's the intention. Next slide. Yes, I was talking about this. Do you know when this? You don't know when this playing. Think about one letter. Don't always visit this place before. You have to access it through your own video all that, right? Right? It was very interesting. So what has Rotary decided to do? Rotary International felt that a lot of people have been public in external graphic pattern, right? But they cannot access Rotary. You have to be resilient to join Rotary. So they adopted this. If you don't start Rotary Center on your phone, it takes you there directly. So anybody can go there. If you want to place your problem, if you want to know this, use this slide that I'm using now. You're going there and download it. If you want to do more there's something you can do. There are all you want to use information that you don't say it back. We have everything here. So and the food don't need to is like even another, but you don't need to do too much to be able to use it. So I encourage all of this. When you go to the food, please encourage look at that. It tells you it's our Rotary brand, which I do. All kinds of you can download their templates. Now, I'm sure running on this 2 times. There is no Rotarian who belongs to this task. All Rotarians belong to the group, or the district, or the group. So when I see Rotarians having projects for and something with Rotary, it's only Rotary International that allows them to use that. You must always know where you identify your group. So when you're creating a teacher for your group, don't use Rotary with the master plan unit, which is like this. You have to put it. You have to put it. Let me go. Don't stand up. No, don't stand up. We are encouraged to always identify. This kind of Rotary logo is not the proper, not the proper way to say it. It is used the now, not the problem I mean that Rotary has decided they can use geographical identifier. So even all geographical are like when we have the last event of all the in Nigeria, we can actually use the Rotary, and the purpose of Nigeria or the spirit of Nigeria is allowed. It's allowed. Another thing I want to mention, after the next Rotary meeting, we need to determine things. And the reason is simple. A lot of people have appealed. Every year we keep changing the name. So after the next Rotary year, we will not have it there anymore. So that we will all complete our Rotary goal explanation. The only thing is, you see, because you see how many years ago, I want to advise that when we are having any outside the outside the group, please try, because I know the president say, we say because Rotary International outside the group that what the thing don't think you're going to do. You let people see you at the end of the time. Just put your logo and write whatever it is. You don't need to put the thing logo because the thing logo that I will say if I need to say I'm not what the thing logo, what's that? But when they see your logo, you are telling the story straightforward. You don't need anything to explain. That's why. So we try to give some president business ideas. We make our jobs easier because like you are saying, I'm a member of the council. So this time so it was actually and they start explaining you have more training. So the work is all over. Please take it back to your clothes. When we are moving and the standard is stick to your crown logos. Don't use Rotary International. No one belongs to Rotary International. You belong to a club of Rotary International. What's that? Okay, I'll tell you. 1.1 million have been consistent message, like we said, you are planning systems with the strong only strong. We don't want we have to mix the parts. Thank you very much.
So, thank you for your beautiful presentation. Thank you very much. But I want to ask a question. The question is, like now you were talking about the club logo. Now I come from a club of yes. So, and the logo I see when I joined the club, a man holding a club. Like, is it that kind of logo we are talking about?
Some of the areas very when people in the district like Nigeria and John mentioned, we have very old Rotary you need to be in here. Very long, very long. Once Rotary recognizes that is actually that way that will call it nature. Your the problem is that we Our district number 1 bill, our bill 22, our region bill 27. That is the role. Any other thing, the reason for the thinking that the thought behind talking the two is so that we won't have something like this. So that there's no difference, everybody knows. We have one without the and we will create anything to show that the character has and who's creating this. So I'm sure doing very well. I'm not complex. I was doing very well because we know that they are the ones. They are doing those so the example of that. So the working master plan city or which club so tell me your senior just from 2013 we stopped using second level technology and part of this was really the council resolution that we should done. I think the list is that just a look. Let's think to our club logos. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will now extend with the theory. One thing that I understand from public is that if you are able to understand public you will understand what your school. And that's why we say, about your that are also personally relevant. Something about the now. Or you need to now, we don't need to appreciate I want to call them project for us to wonderful Jessica or public in the
Thank you, MC. Well, it's always a pleasure to have Mike. See, if you've been listening to him, you will know that there's no way you will address the topic of public image, you won't pick something today. Even as I sat down there, I'll pick one or two things. So please let us learn as much as possible and practice it. Tell your club members, share the information of your club members so that you have a better awareness and public image for Rotary. On that note, on behalf of the district governor and of course the GC Leadership Seminar Committee and all of us here, we want to thank you, Mike, for the delivery and the practical demonstration of how to really improve and enhance our public image. This administration plan given to you as a guest speaker today. And we thank you. God bless you as you continue to do the work.
So these words are actually we are helping to develop or this class. You know, the input so that we don't know we have
Then see, you do very, very well. But in our standard level, was also thanking. So give you a lot of applause. You know what happened? MC for today was supposed to be somebody else, but as of this one, he didn't know it was going to be the MC. So, and speaking with him through the contact, he agreed to be here. We stay because from 9 a.m. up to this moment, I want to thank you so much. And God bless you. You know, the beginning was having, and I want to change your opinion. So, this is our mission of history regarding seminar. We're listening to how to live our intelligence, effectiveness in leadership. We were taking through some of the tips for investing in Nigeria, especially in this present economic environment. Our mission took us from the leadership style, and of course, we also when we were taking through the various nitty-gritty of international relations and diplomacy by Professor Padido, and now the last but not the least, public change as a tool for effective global laws. I want to thank you for being here. And we have the district governor to step up to conditions of other projects by groups. And so was in 2 days ago. Yesterday we had the youth seminar, youth summit, and today we're going out commissioning various projects. John and executed by various clubs of in our district. I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to thank you for serving humanity with all your resources without counting costs. And your friends and friends continually allow us to serve humanity even more. Let us rise and take the national anthem. Can we take the second stanza of the national anthem?
Don't forget the Lord.
Don't forget the Lord. Can we go to the higher? So I will just sit alone. So I will just continue to also,